Hey guys, so I just wanted to put out another little video, just kind of some thoughts as I was lifting. When I'm lifting, I usually think if I'm lifting alone or just take my time and pray with God. And so just as I was lifting today and just praying, something I was thinking about was just kind of like what we're willing to sacrifice for what we want, what we're willing to sacrifice for what we know that we need. And it just kind of started out I came in to work out, had a really bad headache, and part of me was like, I don't really feel like working out. I could just rest. But then I was thinking, I need to work out today, and I can't let how I feel stop me from doing what I'm supposed to do, or how I feel, if I don't really feel like it, stop me from what I've set out to do. Like if I've set out to do something, whether I'm not feeling it or not, whether it hurts more today than another day, that shouldn't determine whether I'm willing to do something. And so I was just thinking about kind of like a sacrifice, or what we're willing to give up, what we're willing to go through for what we want. And so I was just kind of praying and thinking, and one of the things God kind of highlighted to me that I've been going through is just my desire to have like a woman in my life. Just there's a part of me that kind of has this feeling that for me to really be a man, I need to have a woman in my life, someone to fight for, and someone to, battle for, and be better for. And so I was just kind of thinking on that, and God was just kind of speaking to me, and He's like, you don't need that to be who I've called you to be. You don't need a woman in your life to be who I called you to be. And one of the things He said to me was, He's just like, what I have for you is so much better. What I have for you is worth the sacrifice of giving up that desire for somebody right now. It's worth putting that away and focusing completely on Him. And one of the things what He said to me was, the value that we put on something, the value that we give to something, is determined by what we're willing to sacrifice for it. And that kind of struck me, and I was thinking about that, and like, how important is God's ministry to me? How important is God's path for me? How important is it for me to fully give my life to God, fully follow God? What am I willing to sacrifice for that? Even though I'm here in missions, and I'm sacrificing having, I live on campus with a bunch of other people in a room, and I don't have a car, and I don't make any money because it's all voluntary work and everything, and so I feel like, well, I'm sacrificing a lot, but at the same time, like, am I giving everything? Am I sacrificing everything, or am I just giving enough that I think's enough? And am I fully sacrificing what God is asking me to sacrifice? These desires that are in my heart, not just materialistic things. It's one thing to sacrifice materialistic things. That's an easier thing to do. But when you have to sacrifice desires or pursuits of your heart, things that you want, like wanting right now to, I'm going to be 25 at the end of this month. And there's this desire of like, okay, it'd be nice to have a woman in my life to go on this road with. And God's just been speaking to me like, hey, are you willing to sacrifice that desire, put that desire to the side, to fully follow me, to fully walk into what I have for you? Is it that important to you? And it's just something that He's been speaking to me, and so it's just some thoughts I had. This is something I was thinking. So I just challenge you, like, what are you pursuing instead of God, or what are desires of your heart that you're pursuing instead of pursuing God? And what is God asking you to sacrifice or lay down or put aside for right now? Not that you're not going to come back to something. Now this doesn't mean that I'm never going to be married or I'm never going to have somebody. That's not what He's asking me to do. What He's asking is right now, in this time, in this moment, to trust Him enough to set it aside. And so what right now in your life is God asking you to set aside, or is God asking you to just trust and place into His hand and pursue Him fully and not pursue that? And so I challenge you to take some time to pray and ask God, like, God, what can I put aside right now to know you more? What can I put aside right now to grow closer to you? And the moment we do that, once we start giving those things to God, and we're willing to put those things for Him, that's when He starts opening more and more doorways, and where our mind is freed. Because if I'm constantly thinking about a girl, or constantly thinking about pursuing a girl, or constantly thinking about just those kinds of things, my mind is divided. And we need to have one mind with God. And in order to have one mind with God, our thoughts have to be His thoughts, and our desires have to be His desires. And if His desire is not that for me right now, then I need to not have that desire right now. Not that it's just going to completely disappear, but I have to consciously make the effort to say, you know what, I'm not going to think on that. You know what, I'm not going to pursue that. You know what, I'm not going to spend time to try to make that happen. And instead, I'm going to pursue God. Instead, I'm going to do things to further my relationship with God, because He's worth it. He's worth the sacrifice. What He has for me is worth the sacrifice, and what He has for you is worth the sacrifice. So I encourage you to just seek Him. And if He's asking you to let go of something, if He's asking you to put aside something, do it. Because it is so worth it. Because what He has for you is so much more valuable than what you're pursuing right now. And so I just encourage you, and I challenge you to fully follow God and fully just pursue Him, whatever the cost, whatever it means, even if it's a good thing that you have to set aside right now. If it's a good thing but not God's thing, set it aside, and God will bring it back to you in a much, much better way. So yeah, this is just my second video now. So I'm going to be, putting these up. I have maybe every couple days, every day. We'll see what happens. Just kind of, as the thoughts come to me, as I spend time in prayer, I just get the urge to turn on the camera and start filming. I'll probably do it more often and record more of the thoughts. So yeah. Let me know what you think if you want. And if you have any questions, or if you want to talk to me more about it, you can just put in the comments or message me, or on Facebook or anything like that. Now I'm more than willing to talk about who God is, who He is to me, and kind of how He's changed my life and how He's grown me. And if it's something that you've been curious about, who God is or who Jesus is, if you're unsure of, I've heard about Him, but what I've heard negative things and positive things. I just really don't know what to believe based off what people have said. And if you'd like to know more, just message me, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you and just let you know just how He's affected my life and how He's helped me change my life from on a path that was going nowhere, where I felt lost and alone and terrible, and how He's just radically changed my life in the course of a couple years. And now I'm here in just teaching the Bible at a school that's missions oriented, and I get to just have a life that's fulfilled and just meaningful, and it's wonderful. And so if that's something that you've thought about or are seeking for, if you're looking for something more out of life, and you're just not being able to, you've tried a lot of roads and nothing seems to really satisfy that desire for that greaterness that that's within you. There's that something that's within you that's just not full yet, but you just can't put your finger on. If that's how you're feeling, message me, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you and just kind of let you know about myself and about my life and what God's done for me. And so, all right, God bless, and have a wonderful day.